You're tuning in to the Masla Show.
Purpose is more so allowing God's will to be done.
We need to give our kids and our young people the opportunity to dream to be kings and queens.
My identity isn't in what I do, but it's in who I am.
I'm your host, Alicia LeRae Ellis. Never miss a beat. Stay mic'd up with Masla Ray. What's up, everyone? It's Alicia here with the Masla Ray Show, and I have very special news. We just wrapped up episode 100. That's right, 100, and it's fire. It's with amazing women in our city. They need no introduction, all movers and shakers, but the main topic that we discussed was God. Purpose, love, relationships, and that's what I wanted to share in my heart is how good God is. Whether you subscribe to our newsletter, our website, the YouTube, whether you've been a guest or just a supporter from far, we want to make sure that you hear the message of how we got here to this point and the goodness of God. So more light, episode 100 coming to you soon. We appreciate you guys. Stay mic'd up with Masla Ray. Peace. All right, great dialogue so far. With that being said, we like to mix it up. You all been on the show. If you watch it already at home, we like to break up the things, mix it up a little bit, and do a fun game. So I have a couple questions that we're going to kind of quiz the ladies on each other, okay? So we're gonna start out easy, a little easy. I know we haven't been rolling. We all not best friends, okay? We'll make a disclosure here. But we have been rocking, and we're just gonna...
We know each other by the spirit.
By the spirit.
Yes.
Let's test the spirit and see if he's gonna tell us what Morgan's favorite color is. Okay, that's the first color. That's the first question. Morgan's favorite color.
We writing it down.
You write it down. These are not supposed to take a long time, so we're gonna speed it up here. In 3, 2, 1, turning it over. Pink, black, yellow.
I think Morgan's wrong.
Morgan don't know her favorite color.
I'm just getting into colors, y'all. I'm just getting into colors. I always tell Ava, like, I don't have a favorite anything but you. So I don't have a favorite anything because will change with the wind.
Okay, Mom. That's an MVP mom saying right there. I love that. Okay, this one's for Nicole. What's Nicole's favorite type of food?
You did randomly ask me this, and I was like, how's she asking
Don't be cheating
me?
over there, Heather, because you're close now. We're going to do a countdown in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nicole's favorite type of food. Middle Eastern.
Is this
what do we have?
You?
Jamaican? Okay, this is a good one. Asian, Chinese. Okay. All right.
Ooh.
This one is for Heather.
Oh, boy.
What is Heather's favorite season of the year?
That's difficult, I feel like. She's
Heather,
such a happy person.
So we know.
I feel like she's happy all year round. So I'm like...
Okay, in 3.
Hold on.
2.
Okay.
1, Mississippi. Fall,
What'd you put?
Summer, spring. We got them all. So summer.
Fail.
I'm just thinking about the newness.
The newness.
Yeah,
I
I
just
love
feel
that.
like
True that.
she could rock any season though.
All the
Yeah.
You know?
seasons. Okay, all right. We're going to get a little, that was a little icebreaker here, okay? We've all failed tremendously. I don't think anyone got one right.
We're not
okay?
getting married.
So if we didn't get the basics right, I won't be shocked if we don't get these ones right, okay? We're going back to Nicole. How many books have Nicole written?
Okay.
I kind of
I
said
gotta
this in the
think
beginning of this
about it.
episode, so...
You know, it's just tricky though.
All right, author.
It is tricky because I don't know if you're including my ebook.
I read that. I love that.
Okay, so we'll do plus
very helpful.
ebook or maybe subtract. In 3, 2, 1, books.
Wait, let me count. Okay.
4 plus ebook. Okay, so we got 4 and
Yeah,
5.
'cause
Okay, we
I
got a
didn't know
win
if you
here.
were
We'll take that
including
for a
that or
win.
not.
All right. Okay, this one's for Heather. If you had to pick a song to describe her, what song would it be? We'll give you a little bit more time for this one. But not too much time, Morgan. In 5.
Hold on.
4.
Hold on. What is that song by Yolanda Adams called?
I get to answer this too, right?
Yes.
I
We ain't
can't
gonna know the
think.
answer if you answer.
I can't think, but
In 3,
Just do it.
2, 1.
So
Okay.
I'm being real generic.
A Disney song. Isn't she lovely? Look,
love
look,
that.
we got Morgan's stuck over here. She got a question.
I gotta think of the name
I
of the
almost
song.
went with Happy by Pharrell.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I think of
Oh,
that
yeah.
too.
That's good.
That is a good one.
Okay, this one is for Morgan.
Okay, what is this?
If she was an animal, which animal would she
wow.
be?
What animal would I be?
All right. 3, 2, 1. Lion, cat, a graceful
deer. I love that. I love a graceful
That's what
deer.
I saw.
I like it. I like that one
That's
too.
good. Okay, so cat is still in the same field.
Yeah,
so
just super kind of reserved but graceful, and you can't
Yeah.
really know
But
what's
that's
going
why
on
I said
in there.
graceful deer.
Nicole had the whole description. Like, this is a
graceful
grace
deer.
Adjectives.
Yes.
All right. So where did I leave off? Okay, we're going to Nicole. Now, would you call Nicole? These are 3 or 4 options. Okay. If your car was broke down, if your car was stolen, if you needed a ride, or you just needed prayer traveling. Paying that car note. Can you help a sister out? Okay. You got yours written down, Nicole?
Am I calling myself?
What was that?
I said, am I calling myself?
Right. Well, no, you're saying like if you could pick one
What would you
as
would
a
I
friend,
prefer?
like which friend would you be? The one that I call
Yeah, I got you.
stolen for a ride. All right. In 3, 2, 1. Number 4 for prayer. All 4.
Yeah, all 4.
But I felt torn because I would do the other ones. So I was like, well, if
Yeah,
it's the
you-
most,
Yeah.
then it's
Yeah.
probably 4.
Okay.
You got boundaries.
Yes, girl. You need them, okay?
Yeah. In this season, I'm not paying no one's car note.
I can't do it. I can't do it today.
Not today. All right. For Heather, what scripture would you use to describe her?
And I can't remember the address, but I'm just gonna put.
It's okay. I'm not
Yeah,
a
me
quoter
neither.
on verse
Um,
and chapter.
I can't think. My mind is blanking right now.
We found Morgan's weakness here.
Yeah.
It's the pop quizzes.
This is the pop quiz or
quizzes.
something.
Trying to think of what the address is for
Oh, that's a
this.
cheat. That's a good one though. All right. You got it written down too, Heather?
Yeah.
All right, let's flip it over.
I can't remember the scripture.
What is it? His face
May
shines
his
upon
face
you.
shine upon
Yeah,
you.
so she put Proverbs 31.
Cheater.
May I read the one?
Please
yes.
read it, Heather. She's
Romans
like, this
10.
is really my verse. Let me tell y'all.
Romans 10:15. How beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace and bring glad tidings of good things.
Good.
Gladness.
I like that.
Yes.
Gladness.
Gladness.
That's it.
All right, this one's for Morgan, and then we got one more after this. If you could pick a Bible story that could define her, which one would you pick?
That's a good question.
Can we pick the character?
Sure. Character, setting.
Because I don't remember what book it's in.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Deborah, Exodus, Moses leading Israel.
We got the whole gamut.
Baby, let's say we did the whole Bible, y'all.
The whole
okay?
Bible. The
Yeah.
whole
This is
Bible.
Morgan. All right. So we're going to do this. This is the last one. This is fun. And we're going to go to each of you to do it. So the first one's going to be for Nicole.
Okay.
Who would be Nicole's celebrity lookalike?
Do I have to answer?
Yeah.
I don't know any celebrity.
This is the only person that people say I
You
remind
ain't
them
got to be her twin,
of.
Morgan, okay? You can
I'm
just,
trying to, I can't think. You
Oprah. I don't know. Write something.
know what?
Not you, right?
I'm claiming millions. I'm claiming
looking at-
millions for her.
All right. Let's see it. Who we got?
Okay, Patrice Washington.
Okay.
And I don't
Denzel
think we-
Washington's wife.
Model?
Oh,
Iman.
model.
Iman.
Let's
Did
go.
I spell that correctly?
Yeah, Iman.
I can see that.
I mean,
too.
I don't look like these
No.
people, but there's like similarities in an idea.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's Denzel Washington's
You're
wife.
way more beautiful than Iman.
Oh, you better.
Yeah.
See, that's why you're on my team. Appreciate you.
All right. Now for Heather. Who would Heather's lookalike
His
be?
look-alike.
And we're not saying her twin.
Yeah, not my twin.
Girl, I keep forgetting you have a twin. That was just her. I'm like, I forgot you have one. Let's see.
I'm not good with this. I don't know no celebrities.
Yeah, you probably don't.
I don't know.
Someone
Right,
was in my
you're not.
DMs today saying I'm the next Joyce Myers. I'm like, you better go somewhere saying
No. I want somebody to tell me I look like Michael Jackson.
before the light skin.
Not before the
Both.
light skin. Dark skin Michael Jackson.
Both. Depends
Brown
on
skin
the
Michael
season.
Jackson.
All right, Maura, you gotta write something, okay? And not another question mark.
I don't know. This one I'm just winging it because I can't.
I don't even know her last
I can't
name.
You gotta put
Sure.
something too, Heather.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
I know I didn't want it. I was like,
People who tell me
I
I
just
look.
made
Oh,
this
you know
up.
who people. I know who people tell
Okay.
me.
Tell us.
I don't really know how to spell her name.
No, I'm talking about the Sophia. I think her name is Sophia something, but she's like maybe Puerto Rican, Mexican,
Sofia
Spanish.
Vergara.
Yeah.
Did you like that?
Heather's like, yes, I take it. All right, who we
Yeah, I'll
got
take
for
that.
Heather? Sophia, Angelina Jolie.
Okay,
Mason.
okay.
Man,
Oh,
so who's
what's
that?
Oh, I do know who that is.
What's interesting is Sophia
Who did you
V.
pick?
That's my niece. Her name is Sophia Vanessel.
Who did you pick?
Marissa Hargitay
don't know who
from
that
like that
is.
one cop show, CSI Miami or something like that,
People
or New
tell you
York
that
or
you
something.
look like her?
People have told me that.
SVU.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I can see that a
do
little
know,
bit.
yeah.
I can see that
Yeah.
a little bit.
All right, now we're gonna end with Morgan. Who would be
Okay.
Morgan's? I know she already told everyone Michael Jackson, so just don't.
I was gonna, you know
No.
what? I'm gonna go with this. I don't know.
Joyce Myers. That had me
Joyce
weak this morning.
Oh.
Like,
But
Maybe
that one is
they
still
just
in
meant
ministry.
you
I know
as a-
spirits. Spiritual giants.
I don't know. I was just like, maybe it was a
mother.
short hair.
Maybe as a
Yes.
preacher they meant, not necessarily looks wise, because there's no resemblance.
She got to be 80 and she's still in ministry. Like she's still
Yeah,
going hard.
she's
She's had a
rocking
lot
it.
of surgery.
Yeah.
All right, so this is Morgan. Let me see who we got. Sierra, this beat is on.
Kerry Washington, yeah.
Yeah, who'd you put?
Mike Jack, Whitney Houston, Tiana.
Kerry
All of them.
Washington is
I don't
a
know no
good
celebrities,
one.
just the ones I look like.
Yeah.
I think you spelled
I
her
don't
name
even look
wrong.
like
but
those
Okay,
people. I
yeah,
just
think
want
it's
to
with a
be
K.
like them a little bit.
Fun games. Thank you guys for playing with me. We got to know each other a little bit more, who we look like in our own eyes, and our favorite color, seasons, and food. And don't call Nicole if you missing a car note, okay?
No,
She's
no.
going to just pray for you, sister. We're going to pray for the provision to appear. I feel like you can call me for a ride, but like once, like if you
Yeah,
need,
not every month.
We beyond
every
ride
week.
season at this
Yeah.
point, you know. Okay, so
I'll get you an Uber gift card.
yes, Uber. That's good. Now you can listen to Uber. So I gave you guys some homework to present us with some questions so we can kind of mix it up on the show because this is a part 1 and part 2 special. So I wanted to make sure that we added all of the flavor, all of the gifts out the bags, all the tricks. So who wants to throw their first question out?
I will.
Yes, thank you.
What are some ways you can actively support and encourage the faith journeys of other women in your community?
Ooh, Morgan didn't kind of play.
No, not at all.
I personally feel like I kind of do it even indirectly, especially with my blog. So I've been building my blog community for the last 10 years. And what I love about it is that it's not targeting just believers. So it can be a bridge for wherever you're at.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really opening up about what's happening with me personally. And does this resonate with you?
That's good.
And so I get feedback from other people because now it comes out Monday mornings at 7 a.m. and they start their work day with it. They start their work week with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had them say, like, this was what I needed to get my mind together for Monday morning. And that's been very touching for me because I'm like, look, I'm going through. Are you going through too? And this is God's response, you know? So that's definitely one avenue. I feel like with the event that I'm hosting with Girl Talk, that's definitely giving a space and a platform for us to be transparent and vulnerable. It's really about sisterhood and it's about us navigating womanhood and being a female leader, especially in this city, together and giving space for vulnerability, transparency. We go really deep. So even though it's not faith-based, so many of us are, and so that's just going to happen and pour out, and you're going to feel strengthened and empowered and encouraged. So I think those are ways.
That's good. I feel like I had a women's empowerment group a couple years ago, and I think because I'm such a big thinker that sometimes I'm just like, oh man, 2 women are enough. Like we got to have 100
We need a
people.
stadium.
Like, And so in this season, because I take things and then sometimes I'll be like, God, I got it from here. And God be like, no, you don't. But go ahead, little girl. Go ahead and do that. So in this season, I know we've been getting together. We've been having fellowship. Like this is that for me. In this season specifically, because I'm in a really different place in my life right now. And I feel like I have to be very protective and selective of who I am allowing to pour into me and who I'm choosing to pour into. Because I've done the events, I've done like let's get a lot of women over, like I've done a lot of that. And I think there's seasons for that's appropriate, but you have to hear from God what you need right now and how you can give from your cup. And for me, I'm in a place, and I think it's been a huge lifestyle change for me. Is like I only can give out of the overflow of my cup. I can't give out of my cup because I need all that's in my cup right now. And so that's kind of how I've been able to strengthen relationships with women amongst you two, you three, and then like there's a couple family members and other select women, but literally I could probably count on both hands on that for me right now, just because that's just where God has me in that place.
The way that I show up is by supporting. This season, it's been really supporting.
That's good.
The people that I'm just naturally drawn to, this purity of heart, touched by the Holy Spirit. I know where to pour my heart into, my attention into, and in that law of reciprocity too, in Christ is, then I'm immediately poured in myself. So it's just this beautiful, cyclical, reciprocal way that I'm pouring out, and it comes right back to me. So that's the way. And then also with my music is stepping forward and saying, this is where I stand. These are the words that have been given to me that are flowing to me and through me, and being brave enough to say, I'm not just an instrument for myself to be able to perform music, but I'm here to use these words in this song to be able to mentor then. So once I'm in a supporting season, that I'm able to mentor and stand for this music, and do it in a most beautiful way.
That's good.
I believe that. I think for me, when I think about my artistry and just being able to speak from a woman's perspective and also glorify God through my work, I think that a lot of people who are even in the industry of poetry and spoken word, you can easily be influenced to, writing things that are more popular or have the buzzwords. And I stand true to myself with writing about my own personal experiences. I may not ever have any erotic poetry because that's not my life. And being able to still show up in the space of being a woman and exploring and portraying my sensuality and my femininity and, speaking to things that women go through on a daily basis and giving it a voice. I think that that's how I empower other women to do it and influence them to, share their stories as well. Also just speaking life, because I think that a lot of the time, paying those compliments, and when you notice something, saying that to another person and saying like, you're doing a great job, or even if it's just commenting on Instagram and just saying like, every time somebody has an accomplishment, making sure that you even congratulate them on that accomplishment, because no feat or no win is too small or too big. People need to hear that and need to know that they are inspiring you, because it helps them to keep going as well.
Yes,
so
it does.
Even those things for me, even the small things.
And I love that you touched on, social media, because I try to show up there too for other people, because those algorithms are rough.
Yeah.
Like I be trying to help people with the likes. Like I know how hard it is to get visibility.
Yeah. Yes.
Good. One of your questions?
I've got one.
You got one?
That's a good one. I like that. Thank you.
It's about rejection. And when you first came to the faith, or as you walk in the faith, in what ways have you overcome the feelings of being rejected for being faith-based, or whether it's family, friends, or just other artists in general that don't share that same?
This is a book.
This is a book. The spirit of rejection and how it shows, how it causes you to show up, it can make you not want to show up because you fear being rejected.
That's right.
And I think for me, being in spaces, for example, when, erotic poetry is happening, and then that is not my experience right now. I'm not having sex. So it's like, I can't really give way to being creative in that way. I think that for me, it's like just knowing who God has called me to be in a space, and never forgetting that, and being bold in that. And even when we're in these creative spaces, for example, creative meetups, and around people who are so fluid in their beliefs and what they practice, maintaining my faith and my, covenant with God and my relationship with Him, and standing on that and being bold and speaking about that, not in a confrontational way, but this is where I stand, and not to say that this is against where you stand. We can coexist, and also being accepting of them and not rejecting them because, they don't believe what I believe. I think that a lot of the time people, when they automatically assume, because I read my Bible, I talk about Jesus, I talk about God, that I'm already judging them by, the things that they do. And it's not that I don't care what you do, but it's like, it's not on my mind, because I'm thinking more so about me and my faith walk rather than what you believe or what you don't believe. And I have to show up. I have a responsibility as a child of God to show up in the way that I show up. So regardless of what you do, this is how I'm going to be regardless. So I think that growing confident in knowing I don't have to drink just because you drink. I don't have to smoke because you smoke. I don't have to have sex because you have sex. But I'm not judging you because you do all three of those things. That has nothing to do with me. And if that's where you are, I don't know what else to say. Like, I'm happy for you. But I think it's just me just maintaining my disposition and where I am, and, not allowing it to be like, oh, come and do this or be coerced. I'm not moved. So I feel good about that, because it takes a lot for you to grow into that when you've been a people pleaser in your past.
Yeah.
So
that's what I was gonna say. For me, like, for a long time, rejection was part of my identity, and I didn't know that it was. So when I hit my point of, I don't know if it would be called like rock. I don't know if I would call it rock bottom, but I say that, like, when my heart bursted, like it was like the last Band-Aid that was holding that thing together came off, was in the summer of 2022. And God literally had me in a place where He wanted to uncover all of it, and take me in a deeper sense of healing. And actually God used Nicole to tell me, you're safe now. And I was just like, oh, wait. She's like, you've survived. And I was so used to surviving that I didn't even recognize that I had survived, that I broke through. Like, this was, all right, I haven't checked my bank account in a while. And my rent is paid. And I'm not, like, it was those survival things for me. And God was showing me how much of my, not just rejection, but so many other false identities became who I thought I was. That was part of writing my book Complete and going through that transformational journey. But I think now, looking at it and dealing with quote unquote rejection, it's like, no, it's not true.
yeah.
I think now it's just like, that ain't true, because God got me. And things like something so small as, like, for an example, maybe my sister not calling me back or inviting me over or being welcoming. Like I used to internalize that as like rejection. Like, and then now I'm in offense. Now I'm like, well, forget her. I don't need her to call me. So. And now it's just like, oh no, I'm so confident and so at peace in myself that I don't need anybody to validate who I am, because God has showed me who I am. And it's not just about reading it anymore. It's in me. It's within me.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would say about rejection. It's just like, I know for a long time it was part of my identity. And now I can recognize it in other people. So then God is allowing me to deal with people in a graceful way now, in a graceful manner than before. I'm just like, I'm cutting them off. They blocked. Like, I'm ending it. Like, all these things. And God's like, no, I have, like, they're part of the assignment right now. And like, to have people part of your assignment is really the most uncomfortable, but the part of like, come on, God, like, I don't need another person right now. There's 10 of them right now. And now you want to add another person to the assignment. So I think in going through rejection so much of my life, I can now that I'm healed from it, I can see it operate in other people, and now I can be able to deal with them a certain way that provides grace and love and comfort, because I know it's not their true self, just like it wasn't my true self. And coming out of that and being free from it. So, yeah.
So I'll share that that's definitely been a big issue for me in my journey. And I didn't ever really struggle with people pleasing. But I definitely struggled with fear of rejection and fear of man. So I kind of touched on it earlier, where God had me continue to put myself in these spaces to face it head on, and being aware of it flaring up and having to go through my internal dialogue. And sometimes counseling is helpful for this, going to my internal dialogue to refute the lies, assessing the thoughts, not just believing the thoughts or reacting out of the thoughts. Like, okay, Nicole, what is true? What is your perception? And then feeding myself truth, reminding myself who I am. But it is a continuous, for me, journey of practice, and not arriving, but definitely have grown and healed to where I'm not like reacting or even internalizing, even being in a place of awareness that we can internalize someone else's stuff. And when you're an empath or an intercessor, it can be easy to do, and we do it just naturally. You're taking on someone else's stuff. But doing that work in yourself to understand the boundaries in that, and constantly renewing your mind with truth, affirming yourself of who you are and being fortified in that.
Yeah. I find that one of the questions that I get asked an awful lot is, stepping forward. How do you have the courage to step forward? Why can't you just live your life and just live your faith, and just, why does it always have to be a thing? Or why does it have to be part of the thing that drives who you are? Why this purpose, for your music or for your writing or for the rest of your life? And so it was palpable, the feeling of the fear of rejection, and also, rejecting myself. I think rejecting oneself, once you really come to know who you are in Christ, and you're not, quote unquote, perfect. You don't become perfect overnight. You don't, it's like, oh, I thought I'd be over having these habits or mental or emotional or spiritual pains or, reactions. So anyway, I found that's been on a lot of people's minds in the new circles that I attend. So thank you for that.
Yeah. And I think, when you touch on the spiritual aspect of people coming for you about your faith, the word that comes to me is being unapologetic. Like, no matter what environment I'm in, I'm going to be me. Everybody knows that. So I'm unapologetically me, and my faith is a component of me.
That's right. Yes, it is.
That's good. That's good. Nicole, you got a question?
Do I got a question? So I'm going to pivot kind of into the career space. So what characteristics does your ideal client or brand partner have?
Oh, wow.
Honesty.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to just list a couple words. Honesty. Integrity.
Yes.
I think the work ethic is huge. How I show up. If I'm showing up 110% and you showing up at 60, this ain't going to work. And then communications. Like we have to be able to communicate. At this point, I over communicate because other people's weakness are my weakness for a long time was communicating because I'm just like, I don't got the time for this nor the energy. And I don't know how to communicate how I feel. Like my anger and hurt is bottled up in a different way. So I would say those is honesty, integrity, communication. And what was my other one?
Work ethic.
Work ethic. Like we need to show up 150 each.
150 each.
Or and communicate if you can. Like if this is a bad day for you, like Alicia, I only got 50 for you today. I'm like, bet, tell me because I need to tell. I don't want to read it all over you.
Right.
I want to know because we're in this together. We're purpose partners in this together.
Yeah.
So
I think for me is having big faith. I think you need to match my faith, my faith ethic. When we're thinking about doing a project, I want us to be able to, jot ideas off of one another and be able to say like, okay, I'm taking this. Oh, let's see how we can do this 10 times bigger than this, or let's see if we could partner with other people, and having a willingness to work with other people and collaborate. That's an extreme thing for me. The work ethic, number one. Integrity, number one. That's zero, actually. Zero before it. Because I think that a lot of the time people like to do ghetto business, and they don't want to sign a contract.
Ghetto business.
They don't want to sign a contract. They want to just to be word of mouth and the handshake. And some people's handshakes be funky. I don't even know what it be. It be a high five real quick. And that for me is like, I want you to have integrity in your own, what you bring to the table, so that when we both are at the table, I can trust that you're going to do what you said you're going to do, and you can trust that I'm going to, meet you halfway with that. And I think, those are the main characteristics, all the ones you named, and then that matching my faith, because
that's hard.
I think that when we got to both be thinking big, and I mean, we've already done all the small stuff. Now I'm trying to make Cleveland beautiful for real. So
That's good.
Heather, yours?
Honor. I honor your time. You honor my time. I honor who you are. You honor who I am. And then everything else falls into place. We're beyond just intuition, I feel good about this, So again, when a contract's appropriate, most every time, and I do a lot of different things lately, so I think that's appropriate, but just really integrity. I know who you say, who you say that you are. I mean, I can see that. It's in your work. It's in how you communicate with me. It's who you are when you aren't having a bad day. And, getting a text that's, hey, I don't have the time right now for this, but, let's regroup, whatever. So I'm not chasing you down.
Yeah, consideration.
Yeah, consideration. So those are big for me.
So I definitely echo everything you guys said. We'll add to that toxicity. Like I've had clients that were very toxic, and I cannot do it. I need you to have a level of health. Definitely professionalism, which you guys touched on. I need you to bring it on time. Let me know if we late. Let me know what's going on. Communication. And authenticity, which I think you guys may have said. I'm a very authentic person. I cannot do the fake stuff. So I have minimal tolerance for that.
Yeah.
And then one thing I wanted to add that you said, Heather, is about that feelings and the intuition thing. When you're doing business, it's not about feelings anymore. It's about what did we decide? What did we say we were going to do at the end of the day? Like I'm tired of. I didn't feel like it. Like it's not resonating with me. I don't want to hear that. Like we said we were going to get to this deadline, do this day. Let's just do that day. Let's just do that. I don't want to. If I went off I don't feel good, I don't want to do this anymore. Nothing will be happening right now. So it's like, I'm tired of those type of excuses. No excuses. Let's do what we said we was going to do at the deadline today. Show up. We ain't got to do it again. The contract is over that day. Once that's done, we don't never have to do business again.
That's right.
And you saying that, it makes me think you probably get that often being a creative. In those creative spaces, they're highly emotional, intuitive. But what you have is the commitment and that business factor, which I think all of us here, that's why we're here. That's the only way you can be a successful creative, is having that business background and mindset.
Keep the ghetto business in your house, okay? In your basement. Don't bring it out I don't want none of that mess.
Yeah.
Mess. And
It's a
and I
mess.
think now part of that is like the vetting process. Like
Yeah.
I'm mastering my own vetting process, like how to ask the right question. It's like you're dating. I always
is.
reference business relationships as dating.
Yeah.
What is your mama like?
Yeah.
Like let's get into it because it is a reflection of who you are. If your life is a mess, the business relationship is gonna be a mess. If you a dirty person at home, you're gonna be a dirty person in the business.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
code switching in that.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing business in depth. Like we talked about intimate relationships in business.
Yeah.
When you get someone and you in each other's home, like for real, you're gonna see the ugly part of it. Okay, so how do we move past that? How are we growing together?
Yeah.
The business topic I can talk all day about. Obviously, y'all know I'm passionate about it, but
And the one complaint that I've got in business and doing business with multiple people in Cleveland is that I'm too serious. It's not fun anymore. And it's like when you hear that, it's like, I thought this was a business.
Right.
You paying people. We paying people. We got to make sure people get their money. It's not fun. You going home without no money, and
Right.
then
That ain't fun.
and they going home with all your money. It's not fun. Like business is sometimes not fun.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you promised this person you were going to pay them. So I can't be late on their check because I don't want that on my name.
Nope.
And I don't want that on my reputation. Like, oh, they didn't pay me. Like, I can't, so I can separate business from my emotions and my feelings and I get serious. I'm not playing with y'all because I don't want nobody to play with me because I know I can act crazy and I don't want to do that to y'all. I don't.
And
We
there's
promise deliverables.
Yes.
There's a difference
So-
between a hobby and a business.
Yes.
The IRS gives you 3 years where you can run your organization without having to make income, but after that, it's a hobby.
Yeah.
So you have to have people that have the mindset that this is a business.
Yeah.
We're not just playing games.
Right.
Yeah.
for real. All right, we'll take one more question from y'all. Who wants to use
Let me
yours?
see. Let me see.
I've got a question.
All right, go ahead.
It's gladness centric.
Yes.
Can you name a time in your past or at the time it leveled you out? You thought, this is the end of me. And as it turns out, years later, you look back and say, I am so glad that happened.
Ooh. I know the one that jumps off me, and y'all already read it in my book, but when I got kicked off the softball team, that was it. Like, I'm like, this is my identity. This is all I know how to do. I ain't good at nothing else. And it's just like, yeah, right. Yeah, right. So looking at that now, 12 years later, I see that was the defining moment that led me into the journey of knowing who I am in God. So they can have it.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
I think for me, my like rock bottom is and God he gives you a 180, I'm telling you, but was facing homelessness with my daughter and going to and calling the homeless hotline, then going to the homeless shelter with my daughter. And in that moment, like driving to the homeless shelter, I was like depressed. Like I could have seen my car going off on the side of the road. But when I entered into the homeless shelter, it was like the peace that I felt just being able to go there and then have a separate room than with anybody else. It was a family shelter. It was called the Van Buren Shelter. It's in Columbus. And the people that I met somebody, a young lady that had 5 kids. She was working at McDonald's, didn't have a car. And God put me through that situation because of what I do now, which is teaching first-time homebuyers classes and financial literacy to adults and young people. And I think that God had to show me where they were. He had to put me on that level to show me where they are at, to be able to speak to them face to face and say, like, I was here before too. And I think that for me, I didn't learn that until maybe 2 years after that. But after I experienced homelessness, for the next 2 years, I started volunteering at the same shelter and through another organization called BESA.org. And I just used to sign up, and it was like God had put me on this trail to give back and just to pour into people. And it was like I feel like my homelessness made me. Like, it made me the person that I am today. Like, if I did not experience that, I probably wouldn't be here. I probably wouldn't have started my businesses. I probably wouldn't have interacted with people. But I had needed that. I needed that rock bottom for him to put me on a level playing field. Like, you're only going to depend on me. And it was like, okay. And I had to learn how to do that through that. And then so many other things that happened after that.
That's good.
So I'll share that my experience of heartbreak was probably the first monumental thing that happened, which I wrote about in How to Overcome Heartbreak, Recovering from Misguided Love, my first book. And I was engaged. We were together for 4 years. And then out of nowhere, he cheated on me. I still remember the words in my head. He said, every day you didn't hear from me, I was talking to her. And went down the highway that night trying to fist fight this man. That's how out of my mind I was.
Pull up on him.
Yeah.
But the very thing that really could have taken me out was my catalyst for purpose. You know, it started my authorship career. It was my very first book, and it's the area I'm anointed in to help others.
Yeah.
But I was so lost in my identity, similar to what Alicia said about softball. I lost my identity.
Yeah.
I didn't know who I was outside of that relationship. That was my future plan. And I think whenever you go through something and you lose something that was attached to your future, it messes you up because you're like, what is my future? Right? But that's when God really showed up for me and became what I needed and carried me through, because there were a lot of like difficulties and attacks that were happening even in that situation, but just carried me through that storm and made it purpose. So the very things that try to take you out, when you can get through them, you're a victor. And then you have the gift, like you were sharing, to help other people navigating similar circumstances.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Heather, you asked a question. If you want to share.
I would definitely say it was, my rock bottom, just being completely and utterly addicted to alcohol, weed, cigarettes. It was just, I'm so glad for that experience. Well, glory to God, because I'm completely not addicted anymore, and and just to not have those addictions on my back at all, being able to speak about it, being able to help others, as you said, to be their catalyst, and their speaking into them, pouring into them the truth, and also just being able to motivate them and inspire them. So yeah, I am glad that happened, because it just also, I'm glad because it shows the glory of God and what's really inside of us, what we're capable of.
That's good. That's good. I don't know if you guys spend time on your good questions. If someone else wanted to ask another one, you guys want to, come on, Morgan. Give it.
So how do you experience and understand God's presence in your life daily?
Ooh.
So
Experience
it's
and
changed
understand.
over the years. I feel so old saying that, but it's changed over time. In my younger years, I feel like he manifested heavily in my feelings. So I'm a deep feeler. I'm an emotional person. And I think in our society, we look at that as a bad thing, but we're made in the image of the Creator. He's a deep feeler. Yeah. He has emotions, right? So that is how he wooed me, was through my emotions. But then he had to mature me, and he started speaking to me in different ways. I'm a big dreamer, so he used that a lot. But then he's a creative. He likes to do different things. So in this season, he's been speaking through prophetic numbers, which I didn't even know was a thing. He's been teaching me to even see in movies that I watch and illustrations of my life, seeing patterns and things heavily through people and community. That's been a huge theme in my life, him using community to minister to me. But it's been interesting because I still long for what I used to have, and I pray that one day it'll happen again. I'm like, Lord, let's go back to the honeymoon, But it's that maturing process where it's like, even if we don't, I'm gonna rock with you,
Yeah.
I would say in my everyday, in this space of creativity and having the Lord, he's blessed me with so, like I said, so many gifts, and for me to enjoy and for me to experience first to say you've been through so much, a lot of long suffering, tragedies, traumas, losses, sudden shock, So I want, every day it's like, I want you to really enjoy what I'm doing here. And then also, but this is not yours to keep. This might be a legacy, here in the physicals might be your legacy, but it's my legacy through you. So, and I haven't lost sight of that. And I'm reminded of that as I age and also as my responsibility to fulfill. One thing is that the gladdening is it implies movement and process of gladness, of exiting out of dark times and into the light of gladness and promise and joy and rejoice and completion. So I'm constantly reminded through the power of words, through God's word, that this is what it's about. So that's how it shows up for me.
That's so good. For me, I would say, I guess I'll go back to childhood. I think what I've seen is prophetically, I've heard God through family, really, my mom and my grandmother, and just close people that really carried me through into my adulthood. That's when I then got my own relationship with God. But I would definitely say holding on to those prophetic words that was spoken over my life even when I was in my mother's womb, and knowing that my life is valuable, that I am loved, that something big will happen, that these things will happen, that there's purpose for my life until I can hear God for myself. And since then, it's a lot of dreams. I have a lot of dreams. Through writing, I write in prayer to God daily. And I think a lot of that stems from just my own childhood trauma of speaking and communications that God and I try to get out, God, can we move on from this writing aspect of communicating with you? But it's definitely a lot of writing. And what I'm learning now is even if I'm not speaking or writing, my spirit, I'm being awakened that my spirit is in constant communion with God, constantly. And I would say this time frame, the last couple months specifically, it's being even amplified. I'm in communion. We are right now in communion.
Right.
And I don't have to be on my knees and praying and begging for that. I don't have to be in a church to receive that. I can receive communion right now, every moment of the day. So that's kind of how I've been experiencing of late and of early in my childhood.
I think for me, the dreams are so vivid that in the correction through the Holy Spirit, I was reading Acts 7-8, and then I was just I instantly recalled the moment that happened the day prior where I was rushing somebody to leave because I was ready to go. And it was was I exhibiting, jealousy or envy? And it was I don't know why I had that random thought about it. It wasn't in the word or anything, but it was right then, it was I need to pray against the spirit of jealousy and envy. Somebody was, into somebody and I'm trying to rush them it's about to rain real hard, but was I just even praying against those and having those convictions and those corrections in those times is and through his word, I think for me, he's just speaking all the time. Anytime I go into his word, he is showing me an instance of how this makes sense. And even when you were speaking about having many talents, it's some people can say that creatives are unorganized because we are gifted in so many different things and we move on those things. And I'm thinking when we act on the many talents, God blesses us with more talents because he's seen that we were responsible for the talents that we already had.
That's right.
So it's when you don't move on all the things that you're gifted in, you lose it.
Yeah.
And it's even when I think about my hair, I stopped straightening my hair for a long time. I don't even know how to straighten my own hair anymore. So I don't know how to do it. I can blow dry it. I blow dry it, still curly, it's still an afro. It's I got to go to the shop because somebody that's been practicing doing this over and over again, they're just getting better at it. But
Right.
since I stopped straightening my hair, I'm not good at straightening my hair anymore.
lost
So it's
it.
like those things I'm seeing God just show up and like reveal his word to me in like in layman's terms. Like in a real simple term for me to be able to say like, oh, I can relate this. Jesus walking on water, not in the literal sense, but in a figurative, sense. So it's those small things that be like, I
That's
love
good.
you.
Even you sharing about the hair, we're all writers, and it just makes me think of how when you write, you're sharpening that gift. The more you write, the better you get. It's like one of those things that you just keep getting better at.
Yeah.
And for me, this was a new space to be a creative. My background's in business. I never saw myself as a writer, even though I had 2 books published. It was not till like 3 years ago where I was like, okay, fine, let's see what happens with this, But it just shows me like God is like, just show up and I'll flow through you.
Yeah.
And then my fingers start going. And it is prophetic writing. And then I have to look back on journals, and you talked about that. And I see like, oh Lord, you were answering this, or I was hearing you. And we're recording, and it's Habakkuk 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So being in that space of writing is it's just so much like him.
Yeah.
Like it manifests creatively the creative.
That's
like
good.
he spoke everything into existence through a word. So when we tap into that space of being word bearers, like we're bearing his image.
That's good.
Even having that 2 second, it's like, I hear you and I'm writing. I hear you and I'm writing. That's just like, what? This is really awesome.
Yeah. And
It's like we're co-creating with him.
Yeah, it's like, I got this
Yeah.
from you. Thank you. Let me.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about the role of being a woman and like even how we give birth and like we hold the portal to heaven, and it's like that's what that reminds me of when you say that God is just like speaking through us and we're just writing it down. It's like God just shows us. I feel like that's how he like enamors us a little bit. That's how he like permeates us and like puts his diamonds on us by all the little gifts that we have. It's like, okay, like, I'm gonna get you this bracelet, here's that gift, and here's that gift, and here's that gift, and I'm gonna get you some diamond earrings to match it. And it's like those things for me is like, that's what I'm seeing when I'm reading his word. That's what I'm seeing when I'm able to write the poem. And I can go months without writing. I haven't wrote a poem since maybe August of last year. And then the first poem I write is that, that poem. And I'm really glad with that work that he brought through me. And it was a healing, like it showed me that I was healed because I was able to write that. And it's like even those things, those small little details, like he's a God of intention and a God of details. And it's like he's meticulous in those things. So when we try to shape it up, we can't mimic that. It's like what God pours out of you. And it's like when you come up with your music, it's like the perfect lyrics because that's God. And it has nothing to do with us.
What's interesting is just this latest poem that Morgan wrote, just your blogs that I read, just your book that I read, it drew me into the Holy Spirit, my own Holy Spirit closer. These are moments, very healing moments through your own healing and your own sharing and your own prophetics have, enlivened my own walk. So that's how powerful our own stories are.
That's so good.
And our own obedience.
Yeah.
That's so
I love
good.
what Morgan said about the talents. Like, I'm going to be sitting on that for a minute, that they're increased, that we get more. It's like, oh, that's why I complete a book and I got another vision and I got another idea and I got okay.
Right. Yeah. I mean, think about just the animals that God created. I mean, how many different animals are? I mean, just birds alone, there's so many different varieties of birds.
Flowers.
Flowers, all this creation. It's just like, but I feel like I see the biggest thing is first knowing who you are.
Yeah.
That identity piece. And I really, really know that that's part of what each of us in our own spheres are called to is like bringing people to their truth, to their true identity, to their true function, so that they then can learn from the creator to then learn how to co-create. And then once you're in your identity, I'm in my identity and I'm co-creating with God and I get connected with you. and I get connected with you, and like what then occurs, I think that's what we're getting, like we're right there to experience now of when we're functioning in our true self with the authority of God, and we then ignite with other people like that. Like that's something we haven't seen, which then leads me to my next question, which is the church, the body of Christ. Where we're at, I guess we all have our own individual take, and I don't want to go down that piece of the religious aspect, but more so from your heart, what's the call to action for anyone listening who's in their own faith, whether they're in church or they're connected to a body or other believers, other women, other men? What's a call to action that you can have for us?
That's a good question.
I am obsessed with bringing the kingdom of heaven to earth.
Seek ye the kingdom first.
In my own life. And in so doing, I take on that responsibility as if I was my own planet. I want to create a world in which I want to see. And so because of that calling, because of that gift, this kingdom calling, as I call it, then that's my contribution. What the church, any opinions about the church or the body of Christ is found within. So, and I think Jesus alluded to that in his word, right? So that's how I feel about that subject. And so birthing, continue to work diligently in obedience, will really exemplify all that Jesus stood for, and more people doing those things responsibly, with integrity, with character, and vetting out and flushing out the corruption and flushing out everything that everybody knows and sees blatantly. It's happening. Part of the exodus, part of the gladness is going through and flushing out and detoxing what's no longer necessary. And so that gives way to greater creativity, greater collaboration, and co-creation with each other. So that's my perspective on the church.
Anyone else have a call to action?
I think my call to action is to continue, just pouring into the youth and really just over complimenting in a sense. Like, God said we was above and not beneath. And he says, you are altogether beautiful, my love. There is no flaw in you. And it's those compliments that he just went over and beyond in his word. And I think that to really just, sometimes we don't see ourselves as beautiful. Sometimes we see ourselves as beneath. Sometimes we see ourselves as the tail and not the head. Sometimes we see ourselves as, we see the weapons forming against us and we think that they are prospering. So sometimes we see those things, but I think that calling, I heard this quote, speak what you seek until you see what you say. And like, even though these people will call kids bad, but I'm just calling, I'm going to call the goodness out of them. Like, I'm going to call the promise and the purpose out of them. So I want to keep on like tugging on those gifts. Like, oh, you know, you're loud or whatever you want to say, whatever they want to say about you that's a negative way. Oh, you got a big voice. You need to be using it for this. You need to use it for that type of thing. That's what I want to do, and just continue to really just empower people in being confident in who they are and what, how they show up. And I think that me exhibiting that confidence and that self-esteem is going to inspire other people to do the same.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
I will say, be open. I feel like so many people missed Christ because he didn't look like how they thought he was going to look. He didn't come how they thought he was going to come. And they missed the kingdom, and oftentimes in faith and in church sectors, they think it's supposed to look a certain way.
Yeah.
But we're all positioned in these spaces of impacting the culture outside of the four walls. And I revel in that. I love that. I'm like, I want to be different because this is Holy Spirit. So I think if we're not open to the move of God and how he may want to speak in these different ways that we're uncomfortable with, or use these people that to our eyes don't look how we think. Like David was king, but he was out there in the field and the father's trying to push the other brothers.
Yeah.
But God knew it's not, don't lean to your own understanding. Don't look at the natural. So for me, I just keep hearing like, be open. The kingdom is at hand. And it's going to look vastly different than anyone ever imagined. But as long as you're seeing with the Father's eyes, you won't miss it. Just like when Christ came. And people missed him because he did not look how they thought he would look.
That's good. That's really good. Well, I'm going to be disruptive. I heard something the other day, like the anointing produces disruption. For me, I would say we got to get off the milk. So many of the body, so many people within the church are so comfortable being babes, so comfortable drinking the milk. And my call to action is more so in alignment of knowing that we are called to be kings and priests and to reign in that dominion, to reign in that authority.
Right.
But we're so used to sitting down and being served the milk and then coming back and being served the milk, and we're not on solid foods. Paul, one of the reasons why I love Paul so much is because his scriptures of the epistles calling out those bodies in those cities was like, you should be teaching by now. But instead, I'm coming back to have to teach you again. So I think for us, it's like we have to move beyond being fed by the so-called leaders and pastors, and we really need to step into that true identity and function and reign who we've been called to reign as. That's my call to action.
Yeah.
It's just,
I believe that as
Stepping forward.
let's go. So we love to end each episode with a pure message. That's what the Maslow platform is all about. It's about this pure message. Another way of saying it's a positive message. What's your pure message that you want to share with the world? Maybe it's a mantra, maybe it's a quote, maybe it's something that keeps you ticking, keeps you in your lowest moments. Or maybe it's a right now, good time, right time word that you have. So anyone wants to share maybe their pure message for our audience?
This time is what I said earlier, speak what you seek until you see what you say. So just, if you're not seeing in your current life what you want to see, like if it's not that, you need to speak what you want to see happen in your life. If you're single and you want to be married, I am a wife.
Speak.
I look like a wife. I smell like a wife. I act like a wife. I talk like a wife. If you want to be a millionaire, start managing your money the right way. Like, I manage money well. And that's just what it is. I delegate. I pay all my bills on time. I'm able, if you want to be a homeowner, I'm buying a home by the end of next year, and just keep on saying those things, and you start talking to other people about it. You gotta hold up your end of the deal once you tell somebody else, because they're gonna be like, "Where's that book at? I thought you said you was buying a home this year. Oh, I thought you said you was getting married. Oh, if you're doing that, then let me see it, because people are going to be asking. So you start having those conversations, speak what you seek until you see what you say.
That's good.
Mine's always gratitude and gladness. We just had 4 incredible stories and experiences of us healing and looking back on our life and saying, man, that was the darkest day. That was my darkest hour. And I got beyond it by the grace of God. So, and that can happen to you too. And it will happen. It's a promise.
Yeah.
Good.
And mine is similar. It's your pain is your purpose.
That's right.
The very things that have tried to take me out are the areas that I've been triumphant in, and I have an anointing to break those yokes and break the curses. So if you can just get to the other side, there was a space that I was in of dark depression after my mom passed, and I would wake up every morning like, why am I here? Why am I here? And what was in my heart was like, just give God one more day. One more day. Maybe today isn't a good day, but give God one more day. And eventually I got through those days. And then I wrote another book. And then I wrote another book. And then I published somebody's book. Yeah. So it is your pain is your purpose. The very thing that has tried to take you out, what you are triumphant in, you're equipped to help others overcome.
That's good. Mine would be get connected. find your tribe,
Yes.
find other women, other men who are either where you want to be or in a like-minded, like-spirited situation in their own lifestyle, because that connection is iron strengthening iron. Because you never know what God has. He had in store 100 episodes. So I want to bring it all the way back home and celebrating of our 100th episode and just thanking each one of you for making this episode special, making Mas Lorraine. Each of you have left your own unique fingerprint on our brand over the years. So I just want to say overall, thank you for blessing our 199/100 episode and coming into helping me birth that and step into this milestone as one of the creators of Mas Lorraine. But I also want to share individual gratitude because I think that's also very important. When I first met Morgan, not even meeting her, but seeing her perform was in 2021. I don't know if you know that, at Medusa.
Oh, wow. That was a minute.
Upstairs
That was a minute ago.
in Medusa. And seeing that, hearing that, and knowing that, I was like, and now being here now, three plus years later, and be like, wow, you've come such a long way.
Thank you.
And knowing that God has called you to where you're at now, now being able to collaborate on a project in the city, crossing roads and collectively building together, it's been amazing. So I just want to give you your flowers while we're here to say thank you for being obedient. Thank you for walking in your purpose. And thank you for trusting God and me to continue to walk this thing out.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Alicia.
Absolutely. And then for Heather, met Heather in 2022 at one of our open mic nights. And my memory of Heather was her singing a song that literally put us in a sense of worship in this outdoor venue that we were at, and building this relationship with you now over the last 2 years and seeing how much you're dedicated to God, even in the unknown of it, even in the newness of it, and really bringing that gladness in all things. So I want to say thank you for being who you are and jumping into the craziness of things on our side of town, and rocking with us. And I'm encouraged and grateful to see what God has in store next. So thank you for that. So with Nicole, known each other for a long time, and just grateful for the wisdom that you have, and grateful for how vulnerable and transparent you are to those that are afforded the gratitude to be in your presence at times, and just so thankful for our relationship and what is next for you, what is next for all of us, and breaking those generational cursings to step into the generational blessings. And I am 100% just honored to continue to walk in life with you and all of you amazing ladies. So I wanted to make this episode special in a way that people can not only see and hear how God is moving and shaking, but also see how he's doing it amongst other believers, other women, breaking through those stereotypes that women can't walk in purpose together, that women can't do business together. We're moving and we're shaking, and ultimately celebrating episode 100. I wanted to talk about the goodness of God in my life and in the life of others. So thank you, ladies, for blessing us. Any last words before we 100% wrap up the finale of the Mas Lorraine show?
I'll just say I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Alicia, likewise with the growth and just saying yes to purpose and the unfolding of all of it. It's just a beautiful masterpiece. And I'm just honored to be amongst you. So I count it as an honor.
Thank you.
This is a huge accomplishment. 100
Yes.
episodes is crazy.
Yes.
So 100 episodes of you facilitating these, I was about to say open mics, but facilitating these conversations with so many different people, and just being really this practice that you've been doing over and over and over again is you really, giving God your yes and allowing him to show you and mold you in this talent with this. Because I can't I'm not gonna be asking questions. I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, but
It's a wrap.
you know how to maneuver the conversation. So this is truly a gift, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you so much for creating the platforms that you do to reveal a person's story, not just creatives, but people that aspire to create. You know, I'm a proud member of the creative class, and we are certainly proud of you, and we are grateful for the amount of smarts that you have and the amount of courage that you have every day to show up, to do what you do, and to innovate in this city.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Thank you all. Listen, I was going to cry earlier, but I made it through. Okay,
Yeah,
mascara is
you did.
strong. Shout out to L'Oreal. But that is a wrap. Thank you, ladies. We're going to celebrate. We got some festivities that we're going to partake in here in the studio. But want to shout out Breakthrough Sounds Recording Studios for rocking with us to 100, and all the amazing guests from Facebook Live in 2020 to my own studio editing video to now producing 100 episodes. It's been a finale. It's been a run, and I'm excited for what God has next and to continue to share all that God has on our hearts and to continue to be more light. So you guys have been mic'd up with the Mas LeRae Show, and we are signing off. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for tuning into the Mas LeRae Show. You can follow us on all social media at Mas LeRae. That's MASLARAE. You can also check out our website for more behind the scenes content at maslerae.com.